All right. All right, everybody. We are on a rain delay, so I figured might as well jump onto a stream, talk some Cowboys football, talk about this offense under Brian Schottenheimer and Clayton Adams in that run department through the scheme of that has worked wonders. Of course, the Miles Sanders fumble hurts really badly. Um, but overall, really, really been impressed with the overall offense thus far. Um, the defense, we knew it was going to be a struggle. I've said, all week that I expect this to be a bottom 15, 16 defense in the league. And I think they've kind of shown that. But I will say Nealon has popped off. The two corners, and you can even throw Elam in there with a couple really nice wrap up tackles in open field, have been really, really good thus far. I'm excited to see what happens in this second half because I think ultimately it comes down to what team has the ball last, as long as they're in striking distance, to see what happens ultimately. I mean, I think that that's a big deal, and I think that, and it looks like, sorry, I'm looking at this. It looks like that there's going to be about an hour delay time for the Cowboys and Eagles game right now. Um, so yeah, it's sorry, I'm getting some text. It's a long wait for sure. But overall, I am very, very excited about what I've seen from this Cowboys team. And I didn't think that they were going to get completely blown out of the water. But going into the link, Super Bowl champs, the Eagles, I know that they're a division foe, but that's a hostile environment for sure. And they have shown that this team goes as Dak Prescott, goes as CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens go. This offensive line has looked stellar. Tyler Guyton, for all of the missed practice that he's had, he has really, really shown up. And I mean, of course, the Eagles don't have all that much, pass rushers that are scary. A lot of those guys have left now. But Nolan Smith, he's got quick get off. And I think that that's aided Tyler Guyton. He has that good lower half. It's really those power rushers that he seems to have some problems with. Overall, though, man, I am very, very happy with what I've seen from him. Tyler Booker inside, just kicking butt, taking names out there. He has been amazing. And then Ferguson has not showed up a lot on the stat line, and he obviously, you would have loved to see that touchdown from the seam ball from Dak, two times really, there in the red zone. And if for those, we wouldn't have had the fumble. But Ferguson has done an amazing job in the blocking department to get us some big runs. Those chips, those things have worked wonders through that Clayton Adams system. So super, super, super excited with what I've seen from those guys thus far. And I think that realistically, this offense has the potential to be a top 10 offense. I had some question marks, especially with Guyton, and we'll see, whenever he faces some better pass rushers. I mean, next week against the Giants, you're going to be facing Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau. So he's going to see some legit pass rushers next week. But right now, thus far, he has looked really good in pass pro, run department. You knew what you were going to get from Tyler Smith. He is an all-pro there at that left guard position, and overall, and Cooper Beebe as well. I mean, I know those guys inside have had a much easier time not having to deal with a Jalen Carter. Of course, if you somehow missed it, he spat on Dak Prescott like literally 6 seconds into the game as soon as the defense went out there. There was some injury happening, and him and Dak were talking some cheek. And for whatever reason, mind-boggling, I don't know why, he decided to spit on Dak Prescott, and he got ejected for it. So that is a huge factor in this game, and I don't want to undersell that, but it is a very important part of that, in being able to run up at the middle and being able to allow Dak Prescott to step up in the pocket. They also have some other good defensive tackles there as well. Jordan Davis, not quite the career that I've expected from him out of Georgia, but still a good, solid player. And he's kind of have to be out there a little bit more because of the Jalen Carter situation. But yeah, I just from this offensive line, what I've seen, and the one name I haven't mentioned, Terrence Steele, kudos to him, man. He looks like he's returning to form as well. He's been pretty solid in pass pro, been excellent in the run protection and run blocking, and so man, I'm really elated on how this offensive line looks because that's the most important part of this team is keeping Dak Prescott up and healthy. I mean, that's been the Achilles heel of this team in the past. So 24-20 currently for the Cowboys. They're down by 4, and they really had a shot to take the lead here. Of course, the untimely mistake from Miles Sanders right there with the fumble. But how about Dak Prescott getting out there, laying out to get that tackle on Quinyon Mitchell? I mean, that's a house call. Legitimately, that flips the script a bunch. I mean, you're talking about 7 points for the Cowboys to possibly 7 points for the Eagles and them going up by 11 points. Like, that is huge. That is massive. That's laying it out on the line for your team if you're Dak Prescott. And that is, that's exactly what you expect from a leader. As far as the pass rush goes, have we missed Michael Parsons? Absolutely. I don't think that anybody would, you know, come up here and try to say that it hasn't had an effect on the Cowboys pass rush, but overall, Nealon's looked like he's really taken a step up this year. Ezraku had a pretty good rush. He actually should have drawn a holding penalty as well. Fowler, man, he has missed 2 big tackles that he needed to make, and really, I'm kind of disappointed in Fowler thus far. I think that he can be much better, and I'm anticipating him being much better. He's beaten Mailata a couple times on that left side, but overall, man, he needs to be better. The Cowboys overall with their run defense still, questionable. Still one of those unknowns if how much they've actually gotten better, if at all, from this trade of Micah Parsons. Of course, you like to think that you're getting better on the edges without Micah Parsons, but Fowler's not a good run defender either. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. And of course, you do get Clark, which is a bonus, and he's been pretty good from the inside. He's got some pressure. And he's made a couple pretty nice tackles, 1-2 yards downfield. The guy that's most popped off, though, for me from that defensive line has been Osa Odigizua, coming off of getting that huge contract, and he has looked excellent thus far. He's gotten penetration. He's gotten his pushed Jalen Hurts back in the pocket or outside the pocket. And if you get a linebacker that is actually accustomed to coming downhill and playing those things where, like, hey, you can get 3 more yards upfield, but you're not getting that 12, 15-yard scramble that he's been getting. If you get a linebacker in here that can force that, I think that you're kind of cooking with Osa with what I'm seeing from him, especially like this is no slouch of an Eagles offensive line. They are legit. And I know he's working against Tyler Steen, which is, kind of their newest addition to that line and plugging him in there. I want to say was it Mekhi Becton that was there last year? I can't even remember, but yeah, their offensive line is nothing to scoff at. So Osa getting that much penetration is huge. I think that Dak Prescott has looked great. I mean, no touchdown passes yet, but overall, man, he is dissecting this Eagles defense, this Eagles secondary. I wondered, did Sidney Brown ever come back into the game? I knew that he got kind of hit a little bit too hard off that hit that he laid. That's one that we'll have to see what happens. But no Jalen Carter, as I mentioned, and it seems like Jackson might have got benched because of the yardage he was giving up to Dak and these receivers. George Pickens, man, that's one that hurts with the penalty there because you're already in the red zone, you're already primed to do something, and you just cannot have that. And we knew that was a factor coming in because George Pickens, he's kind of a hothead. But the locker room cancer that he has been labeled is not a thing in my opinion. He's just a guy that loves football and loves to try to take it out there on the field and leave it out there on the field. So yes, he's a little bit of a hothead out on the field, but as far as off the field concerns, he really doesn't have that many. And I think he was a great addition to this team. I know you gave up some capital, but we'll see with what happens with his contract moving forward and if the Cowboys do want to work out something. But thus far, George Pickens has um, really filled into that X role, allows CD to be moved around a lot more frequently. We had some shades of Turpin in there that looked really good. Turpin even went out there and punked Jackson as well. So a lot to look forward to whenever this game isn't delayed any longer. It's an exciting game thus far, and that's one thing I was praying for. If the Cowboys can show me that they're a legit offense, down in, down out, and they can run the ball to take some of that pressure off of Dak Prescott, they're going to be in good hands, and they can kind of mask some of their defensive deficiencies, especially when you have ball hawks like Hooker. A lot of people have not talked about Hooker's pairing with Matt Eberflus again. People forget Matt Eberflus was the D coordinator with the Colts back when Hooker was getting multiple interceptions back in the day. So I kind of expect a good year from Hooker because of that. We'll see if he can kind of turn the clock back and do that. But that's a big part of this defense. Then you also got Bland, the pick six king. You've got Diggs out there playing good, meaningful ball, man. For all the crap that the front office gave Diggs about his way of trying to rehab, man, they're looking silly right now. Diggs is out there doing work. AJ Brown 0 catches, Devontae Smith 2 catches. Really, it's been Barkley, it's been the scrambles from Hurts, and it's been those underneath shallows from Dallas Goedert that has given them and then the one big ball to Dotson. And other than that, I mean, realistically, the wide receivers have not hurt our DBs. For all it talks about, man, the Cowboys are so slim at DB. And I know that, Diggs actually playing week 1 was up on up in air. I know a lot of people that didn't expect him to even be here for week 4. So for him to be out there week 1 and actually playing and being solid in coverage thus far, really, really gotta give him his props for that. Ultimately, it comes down: can you stop the scrambles from Jalen Hurts, and can you stop Barkley and force him into actually throwing the football and trying to dissect your DBs? Because I like my chances with Bland or Diggs or Hooker, or even Elam. Elam was taking the ball away in some training camp practices. So one of those guys getting their hands on a ball and getting an interception. And I'm saying that as a fantasy owner of Jalen Hurts here. I want Jalen Hurts to have an interception this game, and we need it, especially after that fumble. That's just one of those things, man. We have got to get a turnover against this Eagles offense. That is one thing we must do. Shout out to everybody rocking with me in here. 295 people in here watching. Big shouts, big shouts. I know a lot of you guys are on the Twitter side. So if you would like to comment on the video and I can read through some comments or whatever, jump on to the YouTube side of this and type in that YouTube link right there, or EJ2 Savage on YouTube. Find me, Boys in the Zone. Of course, you can find me there. Whatever you type in, get into the YouTube comments and let me read some questions. Let me read some of your guys' thoughts, because I am wildly surprised at how this game script has gone, because realistically, I thought Eagles are going to come out here. They're going to run the ball down our throats. They're going to control the time of possession. And the Cowboys, sure, they'll score some points, but they just won't have that time of possession to really dictate this game. And have I been wrong? The Cowboys have done the opposite. They have been very, very good on the ground thus far. They've controlled some possession time. Sure, they can't stop the Eagles in this nosebleed of them continually scoring, but right now, this offense has looked great, and I am so elated to see that and see that it's not always this bracket coverage, or it's not always this help on CeeDee Lamb 24/7. CeeDee can be free a little bit, and what that means is you can utilize him, roll him to whatever side, use him in those motions, use him in unique ways to actually utilize your best playmaker on the field. And man, if you can steal one from the defending Super Bowl champions, you are going to feel not only great because you're like, hey, we just beat the guys that won the Super Bowl, but you're feeling great because you're 1-0 in the division and you're 1-0 overall going to against the Giants, where you could possibly go up 2-0 in the division. That is huge. You got to come away with the win right here. And I know that that's a tall task. This Eagles team is not bad. They're going to be, they're going to be in the playoffs. Realistically, unless a major injury happens to them. But Um, this just being able to be toe to toe right now gives me that shades of the Tampa Bay versus the Cowboys game where Dak came off the leg injury and we went toe for toe, but we didn't finish the job. We've got to finish the job tonight. And I think that really starts with getting a turnover of our own and going out there with the ball last within striking distance. If you can do those two things, I believe that the Cowboys can win this game. And that was something that I wasn't necessarily saying before the game started, you know. Um, I'm cautiously optimistic about this team, but I thought that was, just kind of brash to say the Cowboys can win this game and not give any true, reasons. I thought that the only way the Cowboys had a chance is if they turned over got turnovers, two, three times against this Eagles offense. And then we gave our offense short fields where we could punch in easy touchdowns. But man, the Cowboys offense has just been driving and driving and driving. So wildly impressed with that. If you guys have any comments, questions, whatever, drop them in the comment section because I really would love to hear some of your guys' thoughts on this. And let's look at this, refresh this page. It looks like the delay is still happening. Let me actually type this stuff in. Lightning delay. Not now. Right. Let me see what it's saying. Um, no updates. Great. Yeah, man, I've almost exhausted kind of all of my points and all of um my hitters whenever I jumped on here and just started kind of spewing whatever I thought about this game. It's one of those things. I'll give props to Brandon Aubrey Maddock, whatever you want to call him. He has been exceptionally good tonight, and we come to expect that. But realistically, I mean, these are the games that you kind of level the playing field a little bit by having that great field goal kicker is sending him out, and kudos to Nick Sirianni for sending out his kicker Jake Elliott on that 58-yarder because he had a lot of problems last year on those deep kicks, and that was huge for them because if he misses that, that gives Dallas great field position, and they have 3 less points in their bag, 21-20, at that point if he does miss that. So, an entirely different game, because the Cowboys probably I think was that before? I wanna say that was before, this last field goal, but maybe not, or no. There were 3 straight touchdowns, I believe, and then the field goal. So, um, realistically, I mean, the Cowboys could have went down and scored a touchdown with that field position. So who knows what happens? Obviously, speculatory, but it's looked really good for this Cowboys team, and I mean, obviously, you don't want to drink the Kool-Aid. It's week 1. The defenses always kind of look suspect week 1, but um, Dak going out there and putting some of these demons to rest against a Vic Fangio defense that has had his number in the past, big time. This offensive line coming out there and truthfully, Tyler Booker, Tyler Guyton, those 2 dudes coming out there and not missing a beat, huge for this team. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, they're just working off of each other. I know that GP3 hasn't really showed up really on the stat card, but he's had some massive penalties called against him, which is huge. And one bad, one good, but still, I mean, his impact is dramatic. Ferguson going out there laying himself out to try to get that ball, and man, if he would have just caught that, it would have been great. But laying himself out there, get the penalty, and if Miles Sanders doesn't fumble that, I mean, you're looking at another 7, at least another 3, and you're within 1 again. So we will see, though, how this rain delay affects this team moving forward because this is huge. This is rhythm. And I know, like, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to get in a rhythm to run the ball. Dak Prescott has to get in a rhythm to throw the ball, though. So I pray, I hope and pray that this does not have a negative effect on this passing game for the Cowboys, because it needs to be one-to-one with the run game, with how it's working off of it right now. That opens up the play action, that opens up those motion delays, all of those things that are so critical for this offense to work, and all the cogs to work correctly. So big time for this delay not to have an effect on Dak Prescott in this offense. I do hope that it kind of wakes up this defense, and it wakes up Eberflus to some of these numbers that he's seen, because Eberflus has been known not to blitz opposing quarterbacks. He's just not a guy that schemes up a lot of pressure. He relies on that front four a lot, and that's great when you have a Micah Parsons. That's great when you have one of those clear cut guys, a Myles Garrett, a Max Crosby, whoever you want to name. But when you don't, and you're relying on kind of this band of misfits a little bit, and obviously we hope that they're more than that, but when you're relying on that, especially in game one, you've got to be willing to dial up some blitzes. You've got to be willing to send Donovan Wilson, to send Kenneth Murray, to send a Maurice Luafau. Those are the guys that are going to come downhill, thump on the quarterback, or thump Barkley, and get them in a second and long, third and long, where you can hopefully play more coverage and allow them to just dump it off to the shallows and then wrap up and catch, or wrap up and get off the field. So those are huge things for me. I'm going to jump off here. But man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in with this quick little rain delay stream. It was fun. Appreciate everybody. And if you guys have not already, please do like the video, subscribe to my channel, comment on the videos, man. It just helps me so much more. And with that said, go Cowboys. Hopefully we can go in there, get this dub, get that win, steal it from the Eagles, man. It is going to be so sweet waking up tomorrow knowing that I don't have to sit here 0-1, and I get to talk about a team that won against the Super Bowl champs, 1-0 in the division, looking forward to the long week where they can game plan against the Giants. That is going to be amazing, but they've got to finish it. They've got to go in there and lay it to the Eagles and be willing to be the enforcer, man. You've got to wrap up against Saquon Barkley. No more thumps and expecting him to go down. You got to wrap up. Dante Fowler, you've got to, whatever it is in the first half, put it behind you. You got to wrap up in the second half. Get those tackles for losses. Nealon, keep on getting that push. Osa, keep on getting that push. Kenny Clark, get in the backfield. Get those tackles for losses, those sacks. That's what we need from the defense, because the offense has done their job, man. They're going in there and they're battling. With that being said, man, I'm EJ Savage. This is Boys in the Zone, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.